which is an African-inspired fashion brand. We've been running for just over a year now, and we're here at Africa Utopia 2015, and it's just over a year since we was here last time, so it's been an interesting time. Talk about some of the inspiration for some of our designs. I guess it falls into two camps really. One is about original artwork, and the other is pretty much around postage stamps and also ancient artifacts as well. On the subject of stamps, I think the artwork which you find there is pretty much under-celebrated, and because they're really small, I don't think we really comprehend or take into consideration the amount of detail and design. The other important aspect around stamps, I think, is it reflects things which were important around the time. So we had a choice about different designs for t-shirts, so one which I picked up was the Ghanaian 2nd anniversary stamp. A couple of things that really stuck out for me. First of all, is the vivid colours that they use in there. So the red, the yellow and the green, all those elements which you find in Africa. The other element which I find really interesting is about the use of the bird. And for me, that bird represented so much hope, optimism and being thought about forward looking for a lot of African nations at the time. Ghana was the first nation to get independence from the UK. But I think it reflected things for the whole continent. And that bird pretty much signified a whole continent which is taking flight. Stamps, I think, are important for another aspect as well, because I think when we look back, I think they kind of capture events, moods and feelings which were important at the time, which you might not really take into account in modern day. So we also use like the Tanzanian anti-apartheid stamp as well. And for me, I think it's really important for the younger generation who might not have considered how an important issue it was to take it on board now, and also about how other countries responded to apartheid as well. So the Tanzanian stamp was the Tanzanian stamp, but it's about them actually acknowledging and making that fight back against apartheid. When we first created the brand, it's really based on one single idea. And it really goes back to my first trip to Lagos back in about 1981, 1982. So, my mum and dad, they moved to the UK late 1960s. But in 1977, my dad actually got a job. And so he ended up going back to Nigeria. And the place where he lived was a place called Festac Village. Now, Festac was like a cultural Olympiad for Black and African culture, global Black and African culture, held in Lagos in 1977. So you had the world full of artists descending upon Lagos. It wasn't about controversy, but one of the things it did leave was a legacy of, it was like an Olympic village, but for the Festac cultural event. So when this event finished, the housing went back to the public sector. And what happened was everybody had the opportunity to enter a ballot and win the right to rent one of those places. So my dad was lucky and he got one of the accommodations in Festac Village. So going back to 1981 now, when it's my first trip going to Lagos, that's where we lived. So one of the first icons, one of the first images which really stuck in my mind was Iyoba Idia. For years and years after that trip, I always thought this image, which was used as the emblem for Festac 77, would make a really great t-shirt design. So fast forward about another 15 to 20 years when I actually got my act together and put it together as a t-shirt, that's how the brand was born. But this took me on another journey. But this time it's about exploring who and what the whole artifact was about Iyoba Idia. And it's surprising to find out actually she was a queen mother, but in reality a king in everything but name. So she fought for her son to take the throne when her husband died, who was the Iyoba at the time. But she was also very much a warrior, protector, spiritual leader, adept politician and pioneer. And from my own perspective, I think she's pretty much under-celebrated, underappreciated and under-recognised for all the achievements she had. So taken in any time frame, I think she was the model politician, she was the model leader of the African continent.